Well, I'm back again with another video, and this one is going to be called Clown World Insights and the Metagame. And the reason why I feel like I need to talk about this is that a lot of like young men in my demographic don't actually have the tools, like the social tools, to navigate not just the space with women, but also in general. Like, people don't know how to deal with people of their own, let's say, race in various generations. Like, a lot of Zoomers don't know how to talk to Boomers. Boomers don't know how to talk to Zoomers. But really, you want to be like gray, that you can move between everywhere, and there's nothing off the table really. Because like when it comes to morality, like something I learned, and the thoughts kind of impressing against my mind more and more as I get older, is, the people who create, or councils or oligarchies who create these moral standards that they impose on us, are not, well, this is like common knowledge, but they're not being followed by them in a sense. It's a two-tier moralistic, like the lived experience is different, but they still project this moral onto you and wear a mask to basically hide the fact that they're doing bad things. I mean, and they're not being moral in the sense that they would impose on the everyday person. I'm sorry if you can hear that. I'm just in my car in the rain. It's hitting the windshield. So, but realistically, you should. Now, I can understand if you go through a period of like, you're disheartened by a lot of things. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to talk, but it's not that difficult. Like if you're gonna go for a meeting with boomers and stuff, dress in the sense that they would look at you and be like, okay, this is to our standards adequate. And then, not bend the knee, so to speak, but, fluff them up, tell them whatever they want to hear. As long as it meets your ends, in your aims, just do that. Don't cling on to this hardcore, like moralistic, I don't know, like if you want to, that's your choice. But for me, I do whatever I need to keep my head above water. I've done a lot of things actually. Like I was thinking about it last night, the amount of things I've done since I was 21, let's say, like the different lines of work and the experiences I had are kind of not unique, but a lot of people don't have them. And I've been in both worlds. I've been in like the underworld kind of area where like the people I'm dealing with aren't even like in the public space at all. It's like a world within a world, and that's just filled with criminality and stuff, which is not saying I'm really interested. I don't believe that being a full-on criminal is gonna help you. Like, you may get some like relief in the sense that you've broken free, but at the end of the day you're still gonna be outcast and picked. You're gonna be picked, like you're gonna be done by your own, because your own's gonna see you in the sense that you're feeding on them and they got enough trouble in the society with racial aliens, whatever. So being a criminal isn't something I would recommend, but I would say do whatever it takes, man. I've learned that in this clown fucking world that we live in, no one is playing by the rules, but everyone is saying this is what I'm doing, but no one's actually doing that. A lot of these rich people you see, 90% of them, I'm going to even say like 99%, have done something shady. Maybe not to acquire the level of like wealth, but they've done something to elevate their position. Definitely. I've done it, and I'm a fucking low tier excess male, whatever, dude. I'm a third world immigrant myself, even though I'm white. But yeah, because like I'll tell you something that a lot of first world people don't understand. This is the mindset of the third world, and it can be, man, it doesn't matter if it's like Egypt, whether it's like some third world country in Asia. This is the way it all is. It is a drastic and brutal fight for dwindling resources, and your victory depends on your tribalism and how strong that tribe is and is willing to, shall we say, commit Fed posting to achieve its aims, right? And it's all about the natural selection and instinctual selection. So when you get a lot of these like immigrants here, they're not operating under the society as we see it, in the sense that they don't even, like, they've never been instilled with a sense of morality as Westerners have. So like for me growing up, I used to hang out with a lot of black people as well. I had a lot of typical liberal, I had black friends. No, but I mean, I had no choice. The country is 99%, well, not 99, like 90% African. When I say African, I mean black, where it's like only maybe 3%, 4% white, probably less than that, like 2%. So like, you're going to be in school around these people anyway. And I would always kind of watch them, and they're not held back in the sense that Westerners are. When I say Westerners, I mean like first world youth, in the sense that they don't really, they understand life is short, life is cheap, so they're in the game, like I'll give you an example. Like, let's say some first world guy got into an altercation with a third world person. This, maybe in the first world person's mind, they're trying to like justify and reason and whatever, but ultimately that third world person is thinking, when we're gonna actually just fight, and then we'll see, nature will decide. And there are no rules. He'll use any tactic to destroy you. So stop playing these moral games. The meta game, the overall game, is to unseat the, shall we say, I don't know. A lot of people have their different terms, like Old Mary, Care Bear, Toucans, whatever. I like to call them the others. It's almost like from the Song of Ice and Fire, the enemies, but yeah, the others. And so like ultimately we're in this game between them to try and like it goes back to that meme with the schizos versus the psychos. Now I think you should be more than that. I think you need to be a schizo and a psycho. I think you need to be both. You need to be present in both worlds. If you're a schizo, use your obsession for truth to navigate the bullshit and pass the information correctly, and then use your psycho to achieve your goal by any means. And subscribe to your own moral compass. Understand that life is difficult, and even the way young people view their life to have been is very anomalous, because like in the 19th and early 20th century, a lot of people did still live with their parents and stuff, like well up until 30s. This is more of a boomer cultural shift that has placed this kind of cultural like way of, like, the cultural path that you're supposed to follow, like move out at 18, college, blah 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 blah. That's new, and that's more of that's like a stuck in time way of thinking, I believe, because you just got to be adapting constantly, no matter how shit it is. Like, adapt to the dating market. If you're seeing how like the oofy doofies and the chads get, you just got to play the game. You got to use your strengths, play the game, and ultimately it's about that victory, that last laugh, which is in a meta sense. So like any form of outreach that you can do to plant seeds or cause tension among like foreign tribes or groups, you should do it. I don't mean, I'm not talking about Fed posting, but realistically, we all know what I'm saying. We need to. Now, I don't like this saying fight fire with fire. I changed it to myself that you need to fight fire with ice. You need to be ice cold with these fucks. Every single one of them. If they're not aware, if they're not, if they are part of the great herd, as I've classed them, and as the masters have classed them too. So in that sense, we're in agreement. I just want to unseat them and put myself there. Because, like, they're aliens. Their civilizational racial trait is an aliens, and by like a true natural right, they would be the ones I'm fighting on a meta sense. But it's like a super game. Life is like a super game. This is why I do value maybe the golden age of video games. So let's say like, no, I don't. My view on games is like very different. I'll talk about that soon. But I just want to talk about the insights I've learned. You gotta do what you can, do whatever you can. Form your own moral compass. Don't step into their mindset. Like the fact that you even step in that mindset to listen means you've taken the first step to like subservience. The fact that you're willing to even listen. The time for talk should be over for you. You should just be doing what you need to do, living your life. Forget about the trajectory that you think you should have gone on. Focus on the trajectory of the right now. That is the most important. And what can you do every single hour, every single day to push yourself forward and get whatever you need, whether you're after breeding rights, you want to have some level of wealth so that you can compete, whatever. Like, understand that no one else is playing by the rules. They only expect you, stupid white man, to play by the rules. Don't do that. Don't play by the rules. Do whatever you need to. Okay? And when it comes to women as well, understand that like you're not going to be able to change female nature. Nothing like this is going to be able to happen, and they're always going to just follow the loudest voice, the biggest dick. So just try and cut that enemy biggest dick off and make yourself the biggest dick. You gotta think in these terms. You mustn't be like appealing for compensation. You should just be seizing. Like I seen this thing like years ago where it was like, I don't know if it was like women's rights or they were like complaining about men's rights. This is like years ago, like 2015, 16, when that whole MGTOW bullshit came into play. But it was saying how the women need to allow men the authority back in the home. But the fact that let's break it down. Authority, if you give someone authority, that means you still in a sense have that. Authority can only be seized. This is the truth and this is the reality. So like women have seized authority, obviously through aid by certain groups, and then also they just used whatever tactics they could. They shamed, whatever. I say they were smart enough to do that because that's what you have to do. And that was really like a good insight for me, was seeing that. I'm trying to think if I can share another insight. I'm just saying in the car because I'm gonna go play golf soon, so I just came a bit early so I could do this. But I don't want anyone to be lost in the sauce anymore, because don't get trapped into these super wignut circles. Don't get trapped into like either side of like radical left, radical right. It's still a form of like authoritarianism, and I'm not a centrist libertarian person. I'm just saying, just like understand that. It's just the fundamental ethos is diametrically opposed, but the methods employed to achieve said ethos is gonna be authoritarian, radical. And like I do agree with a certain kind of authority, like a natural authority, but none of this government bullshit. No way, no way. And another thing, like this is probably like the most important thing I'm gonna say, is that when it comes to clown world, understand that everyone, even like the people you're listening to, like even me, we have agendas to push, biological aims to achieve, and financial targets to meet, like whatever they may be for that whatever person, but everyone has it. So don't be stuck listening to everyone and like taking all your viewpoints from them. Like just take what you can for yourself and just use that. That's all. Don't be spending 10 grand on Tate's Hustler University to learn how to. If you reach that point, dude, it's probably over, and it probably never fucking began. But even then, that's more of like a desperation thing. You just gotta be. It's easier said than done. Like, not desperate, but I don't know. It's hard. I kind of figured it out for myself in my own way, but everyone's way to achieving it is gonna be slightly different. So I don't really know. For you specifically, whoever you might be, what the way is, but the meta game and the game of nature, as I've learned it growing up in the third world and moving to the first world, it's never changed. It's tribalism. It's it's might is right. It's very Nietzschean, even if it may not seem so. And it is kind of like not an idealized meritocracy. Like, it's not a how we would see it's a merit based system where they've simply used all their methods of deception warfare to achieve victory, which is what's happened. That's just what's happened. So, like, you can't even really blame these migrants, these whatevers, because they're simply doing whatever they need to achieve their victory, their aims. That's literally all it is. So forget about whining about it. Forget about crying online and whatever. Just go out. Okay, maybe not go out just yet, but take a day, think about like all the bullshit you need to cut away from your life. You like cut down everything. Like for a while when I was bored and it was like the winter here, I was getting like recommendations for games. And I was like, fuck that bullshit. I like games that I like, and they're very obscure. And like, I don't, I'd rather just play those like 1,000 times. I'm just revealing my autism here, than actually play like anything new or slightly interesting. Everything for me, I discover sometimes obviously through friends, but a lot of the time it's something that I wanted to go into, and then I'm happy that way. And forget all the influence, bro. Stop watching the YouTube videos and stuff. Don't even like. Oh, I don't know, bro. Just win. Just win, dude. Just figure out a way. Figure out a way to cut Abrahamism out your life. Figure out a way to cut the mental conditioning. Just figure out a way, dude. For me, it had to be like a near complete psychological breakdown, but that might not be everyone's path. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. So thanks.